Welcome back to my tutorial. See, the contents shown on the screen can be noted down for your reference. Okay, at the end of this session, there is an assignment for you that is based on important questions. Okay, so let's move on our new session. So, in the last lecture, we learned about the structures, right? In this session, we are going to study about an example for structure, pointer concept, methods of memory allocation, and memory leak. According to our previous session, structure is a collection of multiple elements of different data types, right? Now, I'm going to show you an example for C++ structure. Now, let's see how to display the details of a student using structure. This program demonstrates all the concepts that you have studied. You know that every C++ program should necessarily contain the header file IOStream. What does it stand for? It stands for Standard Input Output. It is used to take input with the help of cin function and display the output with the help of cout function. Okay. And the namespace, if we are writing some code that has same function in different libraries. So this namespace can define the context in which names are defined. Next, I am going to start a structure here. First, I am going to declare a structure named student. That means I want to store the student structure data. That's why structure named student. You can use any meaningful name for the structure. Okay. Generally, a student contains a roll number and name. Right. Here, name and roll number are called structure members. Now, we are closing the structure. And here there is a rule. Everyone knows that a structure should close with a semicolon. Next, the main function. You know that every program execution starts with main function, right? After that, I have created a structure variable here. And I already said that you have to create a structure variable with the structure definition itself or inside the main function. Here, I created the structure variable inside the main function. Okay. When the structure variable is declared, then only the memory is allocated for the structure members. Without structure variable, there is no memory. Now, we can write the statement to accept the values. That is, accept the structure members. Okay, cout, enter the roll number. In the output screen, we can see this message. Then cin s dot roll number. Here, a dot operator is used to access the structure members. Similarly, we can access name also. That is, cout, enter the name, cin s dot name. Then final statement to display the result. Okay. Then at last, return 0. That is, as main has supposed to return one integer, so here returning 0 to indicate the successful termination of main function. Okay. This program contains only one structure variable. Hence, the details of only one student can be retrieved by the program at a time. If we have to deal with group of students, we will use the concept of array of structures. See how to display the details of set of students. After getting each details, we can display the details. Then one more for loop is used to display the details of all the students. Okay. Now, we are going to study a new concept called pointer. To understand pointers, we first should understand how various data types or various variables are stored in computer's memory. Okay. Let's say in this figure in the right here is a computer memory. And in a typical memory architecture, each byte of the memory has an address. So, let's assume the particular address is 1000. So, the next byte would have an address of 1001. Okay. And will go on like 1002, 1003, etc. So, if we want to declare a normal variable, we write the statement as some data type followed by a variable name. Okay. Let us write the statement as int a. The statement implies that a is a variable name which holds the integer value. Okay, that you already know. Since it is an integer value, 4 bytes of memory is allocated for the variable a. And if we want to initialize a equal to 25, what will happen? That 25 will be placed at the particular memory address 1000, because 1000 is the starting address, right? So here A is the variable, 25 is the value, and 1000 is the address. Okay. That means rather than storing the value of a variable, pointer stores the address of a variable. Okay. So here also the declaration is same as a normal variable is declared, but we have to use a star operator here. That is data type star variable name. So if any declaration consists of a star operator as a prefix, it shows that it is declared as a pointer variable. Okay, and the pointer variable will hold the address of another variable. Alright. Here we are using two main operators, star and ampersand. Star is also called indirection operator, dereference operator, and value at operator. And ampersand is called an address of operator. Okay. Actually, we have a reference, or we have stored an address in P, right? And we get the value at the particular address using the star operator. So it is called dereference operator. And also it retrieves the value at the location pointed to by the pointer. So it is also known as value at operator. And about ampersand, if we put an ampersand sign in front of a variable, it gives the address of that particular variable. So it is called address of operator. Alright. Then you might have a doubt like what type of data that particular variable, that pointer variable can hold, right? Okay. If we want to store the address of an integer value, then we have to declare the pointer as an integer type variable. So only the integer pointer can hold the address of integer type data. Understood? Likewise, characters and float type data. So after the declaration of a pointer variable, we have to initialize the variable, right? As I said, it holds the address of another variable. We have to assign the address of one variable to the pointer variable. Okay, for this we have to use an equal to operator. So on the LHS we have to write the pointer variable, and RHS is the address. Address means ampersand. So P equal to ampersand A. So if you print P, what will happen? It will print the address of A, right? That is 1000. And what will you get if you print star P? You know that star returns the value at a particular location, right? So, what is the value? 25. So, 25 will be printed. Similarly, ampersand A gives the address of A, right? So, 1000 will be printed. And if you simply print A, what will happen? A is a normal variable, no? So, it will directly return 2. And star in the bracket ampersand A means value at the particular location A. Okay, so answer is 25. Hope you understood this one. The concept of pointer, right? And if you simply write A, what will happen? A is a normal variable, right? So it will directly return 25. Okay. And star in the bracket ampersand A means value at the particular location A. So 25 will be printed in the screen. Okay. Hope you understood this one. That's the pointer concept. Hope you all have understood the pointer concept. Now move on to next session. The next topic is methods of memory allocation. There are two types of memory allocation, that is static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation. And this static memory allocation takes place during the compile time and dynamic memory allocation takes place during runtime. Okay. Don't get confused. I'll clarify what is compile time and runtime. Compile time allocation means the allocation will be done before the execution of the program. That is, at the declaration time itself, the memory gets allocated. Okay. And runtime allocation means the allocation will be done during the execution of the program. Alright. I'll demystify this with an example. Okay. If you concern an array, first we have to declare an array, right? So, we have to specify the size of the array while the declaration itself. That you already studied in your 11th standard, right? So, I am declaring an array here. That is char name of 10. The maximum size of the array is 10 here. Okay, and it will occupy 10 bytes of memory. How? Since it is a character array. You know, a character array occupies 1 bytes. And for each 10 elements, it will occupy 10 bytes of memory. Okay. This statement implies that name is an array of char type which can hold the maximum of 10 elements. Okay. So 10 is the maximum size. Why I am saying maximum here? Because we may or may not use 10 elements, right? So here there are two cases. Let us see. That is case 1. Here, if you are using only 5 elements, the remaining 5 elements memory will be wasted. Okay, that is memory allocated for elements will be wasted. Here 10 bytes of memory is allocated. Then case 2. 10 elements are there, right? So 10 bytes of memory is allocated. If we need to add 3 more elements in the array, it is not possible. Okay. So these two cases are not possible for compile time allocation. So for avoiding such problems, we are allocating the memory at runtime. That is, during the program execution, we are allocating the memory. So at the runtime, whatever the memories we needed, that will be allocated. Okay. That is, many times we don't know how much memory we will need to store information. That is, the size of the memory can be determined at runtime only. This type of allocation is called dynamic memory allocations. This dynamic memory allocation is done by using a keyword called new. So, new keyword is used to allocate the memory at runtime. And whatever memory is allocated using the keyword new, we have to deallocate the memory after the completion of the program using a keyword delete. Then only other variables can occupy the memory. Okay. The syntax of new is given below. That is pointer variable equal to new followed by data type. So what does a new operator will do? The new operator creates a memory and returns a memory address to the pointer. Means which location the data has to be stored, that location address will be moved to the pointer. Okay. Now let's see an example how the memory will be created. In this example, first statement is int star p. That is an int type pointer is created to hold the address of the data. Then p equal to new int. That is p points to int type of memory. Then star p equal to 10. That is in that particular location 10 will be stored. Okay. And then print the value 10. Okay. This is how new keyword is used to create a dynamic memory. And as I said, after the completion of the program, we have to release the memory by using the keyword delete to hold the upcoming variables. For that, the syntax is delete pointer name. Okay. Well, we have learned the concept of dynamic memory allocation, right? Now we are going to discuss a situation which has caused by improper use of dynamic memory. This situation is called memory leak. If the memory allocated using new operator is not freed using delete operator, that memory is left unused but not released for further allocation. This block of memory is called orphan block. The size of the orphan block is increased on each execution of the program. This unfavorable condition is called memory leak. That means, if you forget to write the delete statement even after the program ends, you will still have the memory allocated. Okay, now no other programs or variables can use this memory. So what will happen? If you have so many programs which are not cleaning up the memory properly, then your computer become slow. This situation is called memory leak. Understood? We can compare the situation with water tap example, where you open a water tap whenever you want to use water. Okay. And we will close the water tap after the usage of water, so that the water doesn't leak, right? So your resource doesn't get wasted. Here your resource is water tap. And as our program concerned, the resource is our memory. Let's see how memory leak happens in our device. Here you can see a memory and an operating system, right? You know that the memory is under the control of operating system. The program is run by the operating system, no? So, as the program runs, it requests memory from the operating system. The operating system allocates memory to the program. And it is the responsibility of the program to release unneeded memory back to the operating system. Okay. The freed memory can be used by the operating system to allocate to other running programs. Now, if the program does not return unneeded memory and keeps running, the system has less and less memory available. So, this situation is memory leak. It will cause system hang, slow system performance, crashes in running programs, etc. Okay. In the case of static memory allocation, the operating system takes the responsibility of allocation and deallocation without user's instruction. Okay, so there is no chance of memory leak. I'll explain this concept with a real life example. Here you can see the working of an elevator. You might know that a software program is designed to control the working of an elevator. This program is run whenever anyone inside the elevator presses the button for a floor. When a button pressed, it gets some memory, which will be used to remember the floor number. And then the floor number will be put into the memory. If we are already on the target floor, we have nothing to do. Finished. Okay. Otherwise, we have to wait until the lift is idle. After that, we are going to the required floor now. And at last, release the memory we used to remember the floor number. The memory leak would occur if the floor number requested in the same floor that the elevator is on. The condition for releasing the memory would skip. Right. Each time this case occurs, more memory is leaked. The consequences would be unpleasant, right? At the very least, the elevator would stop responding to request to move to another floor. Means when someone is inside and presses the button, it won't respond. It will take many months to show the consequences. Okay, this is the memory leak condition. Here is your assignment. Write any 4 differences between static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation. What is the criterion for determining the data type of a pointer? Consider the statement in star p, a equal to 5, p equal to ampersand a. Cout star p plus a. What is the output? Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you have any queries, you can call me or text me.